So the Royalist thinks that Princess Diana's death looks more and more like murder. So, and Celebrity wrote, on August 31st marks 28th anniversary of Princess Diana's death in Paris this year. There have been fewer articles about Diana and her death, especially compared to previous years' coverage. Personally, I think the way the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been treated by the monarchy and the British establishment have opened up some old wounds and made some people rethink what happened to Diana. I still believe there was more to story with what happened to Harry, Meghan, and Doria Ragland in New York on 2023. And I believe Harry when he said repeatedly that he fears that people want his wife to end up like his mother. The older I get, the more I believe there was a cover-up and that Diana's death was incredibly convenient for the Windsors. Well, Tom Sykes devoted the Substack piece to his evolving thoughts of Diana's death and the alleged cover-up. You can read. So this is the piece. So there are great differences of opinion about who ordered the killing. Muhammad Fayed famously blamed Prince Philip, but I side with those who argue that the most credible suspect is a powerful group of insiders in the British security services. I guess they're talking about, M5 and M6, who may have disposed of Diana without consulting or seeking approval from individual royals, believing that Diana was a grave threat to the monarchy and the wider establishment. Don't forget, she said in her Panorama interview that she didn't believe Charles was fit to be king. Imagine if she were the one living in California and giving interviews to Oprah. Can anyone really imagine a Queen Camilla in such a scenario? I believe that the white Fiat Uno that clipped Diana's car just before it entered the tunnel was driven by a security operative, and that the collision triggered the car's airbag, obscuring the driver's view for a crucial few seconds. Even if the airbags didn't go off prematurely, as the writer Lady Colin Campbell believes, oh God, that woman, she's crazy. I suspect that collision created a chaotic moment of panic that led to the car smashing into 13 pillars. So Lady Colin Campbell hates Meghan, and she thinks Meghan has fake baby, she's never pregnant. She made up all kind of nonsense stories about the Duchess of Sussex, which is ridiculous. So the keystone of all this conventional wisdom is that Henry Paul was drunk. Alas, it is an unquestioned fact that one post-mortem test on his blood showed a carbon monoxide level of 20.7%. With that amount of carbon monoxide in your blood, you'd hardly be able to stand up, let alone walk normally or bend down to tie your shoelaces, as CCTV showed Henry Paul did at 11:12 p.m. as he was preparing to leave the Ritz Hotel. The British police inquiry into Diana's death ultimately concluded the sample was contaminated, and yet tests on his blood from the same French labs saying he was 3 times over the drink driving limit were accepted as accurate without question. Oh, poor guy, he didn't even drunk, and then they blaming him. Of course, they have no value, so just a driver, but they have, this driver has children and family, but they could care less. They just have have to blame somebody for her death. It's very sad. So, and then Celebrity said, yeah, I agree with the Fiat Henry Paul's sketchy blood work. The embalming, it was all also bizarre. Psych then references Noel Bottom's book, The Murder of Princess Diana, and the case Bottom made. Bottom references Diana's own belief that Charles and the establishment would kill her, likely through a staged car accident. So it's really scary, Meghan should be careful. And how are they gonna have the Invictus game with Harry in there, and then usually Meghan there too? But that's not very good. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. Bye now.